Hi, everybody. My name's Ruthie Bridger, and I'm a real alcoholic. Tammy and Dawn got to come back next week, and I'll have special coins for you. Okay, we are at page 15. First paragraph down.
I don't think you're on. Can you guys hear her?
Yeah, she's on. I can hear option all the way up.
I'm on. Okay.
Thank you.
And what hearing Bill's story, what he's going to be talking about is that you have to give it away in order to keep it. One of our paradoxes. You got to give it away in order to keep it. And this is about being enthusiastic about your recovery, being excited about it. That is so important. And it looks good. Anybody that gets excited about their recovery is doing yourself a favor, and you're giving your recovery a favor. Because it just looks good. Everybody wants something that looks good, and recovery and being enthusiastic about it looks good. And he's also going to be talking about staying close to fresh pain. Yeah. Least we forget where we come from.
That's right.
So you got to keep coming back to these meetings. I'm sober 42 years. Thank you. But I keep coming back to these meetings. Least I forget where I come from. I come here and people start talking about having DUIs. Oh, yes, now I remember. They start talking about getting the utilities turned off. Oh, now I remember going to jail. Oh, now I remember. Wrecking cars. Oh, now I remember. You got to stay close to the fresh pain, or you will forget where you come from. And when I forget where I come from, guess what? I'm going back. So I would much rather be on this end of the conversation, talking to a new person, instead of me being the new person talking to somebody else. Huh? So that's what I'm here for. And he's also going to tell us something else that's a little tricky. That we're going to have to act our way into good thinking. Because we're never going to think our way into good acting. Okay? We can't do that. Act our way into good thinking. Because we're never going to think our way into good acting. Okay, so we're at the top of page 15. My wife. All right, let's see if we're ready.
My wife and I abandoned ourselves with enthusiasm to the idea of helping other alcoholics to a solution of their problems. It was fortunate, for my old business associates remained skeptical for a year and a half, during which I found little work. I was not too well at the time, and was plagued by waves of self-pity and resentment. This sometimes nearly drove me back to drink, but I soon found that when all other measures failed, Work with another alcoholic would save the day.
There you go.
Many times I've gone to my old hospital in despair. On talking to a man there, I would be amazingly lifted up and set on my feet. It is a design for living that works in rough going.
Now, see, this is what we're talking about now. A design for living. Not a design to quit drinking, but a design for living that really works.
We commenced to make many fast friends, and a fellowship has grown up among us, of which it is a wonderful thing to feel a part. The joy of living we really have, even under pressure and difficulty. I have seen hundreds of families set their feet in a path that really goes somewhere. Have seen the most impossible domestic situations righted, feuds and bitterness of all sorts wiped out. I have seen men come out of asylums and resume a vital place in the lives of their families and communities. Business and professional men have regained their standing. There is scarcely any form of trouble and misery which has not been overcome among us. In one western city,
The western city he's referring to is Cleveland, Ohio. I mean, how far west do you want to go? Cleveland, Ohio.
and its environs, there are 1,000 of us and our families. We meet frequently so that newcomers may find the fellowship they seek. At these informal gatherings, one may often see from 50 to 200 persons. We are growing in numbers and power. A footnote here indicates that in 2001, AA is composed of over 100,000 groups. An alcoholic in his cups is an unlovely creature. Our struggles with them are variously strenuous, comic, and tragic. One poor chap committed suicide in my home. He could not, or would not, see our way of life. There is, however, a vast amount.
This was a gentleman by the name of Bill C. Bill C. was an attorney, and he lived with Bill and Lois for over a year. And Bill and Lois had went to a meeting, and they came home. Bill C. had turned the gas on the stove and stuck his head in and committed suicide. They found him dead. And sometimes, this is what untreated alcoholism looks like. Just quitting drinking is not the right answer. There has to be something to take its place. And that's what recovery is all about. Is that we have to put them 12 steps back into our life. Because nature will not adhere to a void. Nature will not allow a void. If you're walking on the beach in the sand and you dig a hole in the sand, if you don't put something in that hole, the sand's coming back. That's just nature in her actions. Nature will not adhere to a void. If you remove alcohol from your body and you do not put something back, the alcohol will come back. And that's what the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, the program, this book is designed to do, is to fill the void. This is your substitute, and this program, the big book, the 12 steps, will do for you what the alcohol used to do for you. Huh? Are those extravagant promises? Okay, we're going to talk about them, page 90. But they're coming up. They're coming up. And that is the program. Taking out the alcohol and replacing it with the program, which is book, which is the 12 steps. Okay.
Out of fun about it all. I suppose some would be shocked at our seeming worldliness and levity, but just underneath there is deadly earnestness. Faith has to work 24 hours a day in and through us, or we perish.
This, whenever Bill C. committed suicide, that was in the summer of 1936.
Most of us feel we need look no further for utopia. We have it with us right here and now. Each day, my friend's simple talk in our kitchen multiplies itself in a whitening circle of peace on earth and goodwill to men. Bill W., co-founder of AA, died January 24th, 1971.
This
is the end of CD 1.
Oh, okay. We need another CD. This is the only place in the book that Bill is giving credit to Abby Thatcher. Now, Abby Thatcher's story is not a success story. We talked about Abby Thatcher last week and how he was the one that carried the message to Bill Wilson. Abby Thatcher picked up a drink. Honey, I'm going to need help.
I will.
I don't know how to work this thing. I just push this button, that's all I know. On and off. That's me and my electronics, okay? Okay. Yeah, if it goes beyond on and off, I'm lost.
Good thing you have lots of helpers, huh?
Yeah.
Should start. Gino, could you come here a minute? Could you come here a minute? What's that one? Should have won already.
Can't get this CD off here.
It's disc 2.
Okay, I got it.
Got it?
Now I'm supposed to say 1. There we go.
There you go.
Thanks, Don.
Okay.
Chapter 2. There is a solution.
Okay. So we are at chapter 2. There is a solution. A meaning one. Okay? So we are giving you a prescription. And it has to do with your mind. They're going to tell us about that on page 23. Bill was not a good author. He was not a good writer, but here he is going to paint us a picture. And he is going to refer to the Fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous, and he is going to compare us to the people that was on the Titanic. Because you see, whenever those people was on the Titanic, there was all kind of people on the Titanic. There were rich people. There was people that sold everything they had to get a one-way ticket to come to the United States. And they were in the steerage section. You know, but I'll tell you what, when them people hit the water, they had a common problem. Okay? All right. And this is the comparison. We don't care if you're black or white, man or woman, young or old, rich or poor. When you hit the water, when you become alcoholic, we got a common problem. Okay? And we have a common solution. And this is our prescription.
We of Alcoholics Anonymous know thousands of men and women who were once just as hopeless as Bill. Nearly all have recovered. They have solved the drink problem. We are average Americans. All sections of this country and many of its occupations are represented, as well as many political, economic, social, and religious backgrounds. We are people who normally would not mix. But there exists among us a fellowship, a friendliness, and an understanding, which is indescribably wonderful. We are like the passengers of a great liner, the moment after rescue from shipwreck, when camaraderie, joyousness, and democracy pervade the vessel from steerage to captain's table. Unlike the feelings of the ship's passengers, however, our joy in escape from disaster does not subside as we go our individual ways. The feeling of having shared in a common peril is one element in the powerful cement which binds us. But that in itself would never have held us together as we are now joined.
So see, we have a common problem. When we hit that water, we had that common problem. But you see, we found Alcoholics Anonymous, and we have a common solution. I can tell you what worked for me. And that's all I can do. But I also can tell you that what worked for me has worked for 3 million people. So just maybe, it might work for you. Now, I understand that you're different and all of that, because I am too. And all of those things that the day that you walked through the doors of Alcoholics Anonymous, I can promise you that I knew more about you than you knew about you. And if you're young in recovery, I can tell you that I still know more about you than you know about you. And that's what recovery does for people. And we're going to talk about this on the next page. So let's go ahead and get back into the book.
The tremendous fact for every one of us is that we have discovered a common solution. We have a way out on which we can absolutely agree, and upon which we can join in brotherly and harmonious action. This is the great news this book carries to those who suffer from alcoholism.
Okay, so it's telling us right here that just going to meetings ain't going to get it. Going to meetings is good. Because that puts you in your element. Now, this is your home. This is your flock. This is the people that been where you've been and done what you've done, that knows you inside and out. John has handed out a paper. Does everybody have one of these? Okay, it's called What is the Solution? So you can see that the new man, right here, comes to Alcoholics Anonymous. He's right in here. And the old people that have been here a little while, is going to talk to the new man. And when they're talking with the new man, they're going to share their experience and their strength and their hope. They're going to tell them what you got to do. They ain't going to tell you, well, you should do this and you should know. Now, that ain't what we're here for. We're here to share your experience. Let me tell you what worked for me. I'm going to share my experience, my strength, and my hope. And the new person is going to come from the meeting with belief and willingness to investigate. And he's going to pick up a set of spiritual tools that's been laid at his feet. And in this set of spiritual tools, there's a wrench that will fit every nut in this room. Okay?
No fun?
And with this spiritual toolkit, we are going to work the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. And as a result of working these 12 steps, we are going to be revolutionized. We're going to be revolutionize our whole attitude towards life, towards our fellow, towards God's universe, and a personality change sufficient to bring about the recovery from alcoholism will happen. And you will return to your meeting as an old member. And you'll find a new member. And you will share with that new member your experience, your strength, and your hope. And the new member, with willingness and belief, will go pick up his set of spiritual tools. And he will work the 12 steps into his life. And he will emerge, revolutionize his whole attitude on life, towards his fellows, and towards God's universe. And he will have a personality change sufficient to bring about recovery from the disease of alcoholism. And this, my friends, is the solution. And this is what happens in rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. Just a picture of it. This book ain't got any pictures, so we have these things printed up. And if you're not going to keep them, give them back, because we have to pay to get these printed. Okay? So if you want them, if you want more, we'll give you more. But if you don't want them, don't throw them away. Give them back to us, okay? That goes with all the stuff that we pass out. Thank you.
An illness of this sort, and we have come to believe it an illness, involves those about us in a way no other human sickness can. If
what we are going to get here, now I'm sure that you've heard the promises of the ninth step, is these are going to be the opposite of the promises. And this is telling us about a family illness.
If a person has cancer, all are sorry for him, and no one is angry or hurt. But not so with the alcoholic illness. For with it, there goes annihilation of all the things worthwhile in life. It engulfs all whose lives touch the sufferers. It brings misunderstanding, fierce resentment, financial insecurity, disgusted friends and employers, warped lives of blameless children, sad wives and parents. Anyone can increase the list. We hope this volume will inform and comfort those who are or who may be affected. There are many. Highly competent psychiatrists who have dealt with us have found it sometimes impossible to persuade an alcoholic to discuss his situation without reserve. Strangely enough, wives, parents, and intimate friends usually find us even more unapproachable than do the psychiatrist and the doctor.
Squiggly writing. When you see squiggly writing, you better read it twice because it's really important. And what the squiggly writing is going to tell us is what we need in order to work with another alcoholic. Okay, I told you they're going to give you something that you need to have in order to work with another alcoholic.
The ex-problem drinker who has found this solution, who is properly armed with facts about himself, can generally win the entire confidence of another alcoholic in a few hours. Until such an understanding is reached, little or nothing can be accomplished.
So you see here that the ex-problem drinker who is properly armed with facts about himself. Now, how do you get armed with facts about yourself? You work the 12 steps. And them 12 steps, especially step 4, gonna let you know all you want to know about you. And when it comes down to step 6 and 7, a lot of people don't think they have to do that. Well, I would suggest that you give step 6 and 7 to your spouse or a friend or somebody close to you. They can fill in the blanks for you. Anything you might have missed. All right.
That the man who is making the approach has had the same difficulty, that he obviously knows what he is talking about, that his whole deportment shouts at the new prospect that he is a man with a real answer, that he has no attitude of holier than thou, nothing whatever except the sincere desire to be helpful, that there are no fees to pay, no axes to grind, no people to please, no lectures to be endured. These are the conditions we have found most effective. After such an approach, many take up their beds and walk again. None of us makes a sole vocation of this work, nor do we think its effectiveness would be increased if we did. We feel that elimination of our drinking is but a beginning. A much more important demonstration of our principles lies before us in our respective homes, occupations, and affairs.
So you see that just quitting drinking ain't it. Just quitting drinking is not the right answer. If you come to Alcoholics Anonymous to get sober, you're in the wrong place. We don't get you sober. Alcoholics Anonymous is here to get you into recovery. And that's something, a whole lot, this is apples and oranges. Recovery is giving you a new way of life. Okay? And I can tell you right now that this is not a program of suggestions. It is a suggested program of action. And we are going to give you suggestions the same way that we would tell a parachutist that's jumping out of an airplane to, when he jumps out of the airplane, to pull the ripcord. Only a suggestion. But with the same sincerity, we are telling you, work these 12 steps. Only a suggestion, but with the same sincerity. Okay?
All of us spend much of our spare time in the sort of effort which we are going to describe. A few are fortunate enough to be so situated that they can give nearly all their time to the work. If we keep on the way we are going, there is little doubt that much good will result. But the surface of the problem would hardly be scratched. Those of us who live in large cities are overcome by the reflection that close by hundreds are dropping into oblivion every day. Many could recover if they had the opportunity we have enjoyed. How then shall we present that which has been so freely given us? We have concluded to publish an anonymous volume setting forth the problem as we see it. We shall bring to the task our combined experience and knowledge. This should suggest a useful program for anyone concerned with a drinking problem. Of necessity, there will have to be discussions of matters medical, psychiatric, social, and religious. We are aware that these matters are, from their very nature, controversial. Nothing would please us so much as to write a book which would contain no basis for contention or argument. We shall do our utmost to achieve that ideal. Most of us sense that real tolerance of other people's shortcomings and viewpoints and a respect for their opinions are attitudes which make us more useful to others. Our very lives, as ex-problem drinkers, depend upon our constant thought of others and how we may help meet their needs.
I think we're going to stop right there for tonight.